It is said that money answereth all things. I can agree with you. But in 2023, innovation is the answer to all things. This time around, climate change in connection with waste through what they call the circular economy. I had a chat with David Owumi, the founder of Qinq and a strong advocate in the circular economy. He tells us of how he and his teammate are trying as much as possible to make the world a better place using what he calls the circular economy. You want to find out how he's about to do that? This conversation tells it all.
Not up to 7% of our total waste gets recycled globally. And it's predicted that global waste would quadruple by 2050 if we don't address issues around proper waste management. Thus far, we've had what we call the linear economy. So where we extract resources, we make products, we use them, and then we just dispose of them. But in recent times, there's been a paradigm shift where we advocate for what we call the circular economy that promotes more of recycling, reusing, refurbishing, using products for longer. The reason why we need to do this, and I have to bring this just today, I was reflecting about what's happening currently in Turkey and Syria and Lebanon, partly in Lebanon. And that will show why we need to prioritize climate resilience. And these things will continue to unfold. And that's why we need to really prioritize the earth.
Thank you so much for that. So tell us how people like you come into play, because you are trying to balance, both sides of the divide.
My journey into sustainability started several years ago when I founded an organization called Salt House, the Institute for Inclusive Governance and Sustainable Development. And basically, we engaged mostly in research, grassroots research. And during our trips to some remote communities, we found a very close connection between resource exploration and poverty. And so I found the need to address, some of these climate issues so it doesn't impact anyway on, inclusive economic development, especially at the grassroots level. The circular economy, it's a new paradigm. It has always been, but we've not prioritized it. Everyone wants to make, cheaper products, increase profit margins. And so we've let go of some of these rituals that we once practiced. So when I learned about the circular economy, coming from Africa, I understood it clearly. Like I said, I just gave an example. But the question for me was, how do we, bring that old model back in such a way that we're able to create new economic opportunities? And that's what we tried to do at Qinq. So we founded Qinq last year after participating in a hackathon, sort of. Where we were asked in the UK, we asked to come up with, ideas on how to, address some of the climate issues. If we are going to address these climate issues, we can't negate economic factors. And that's why I chose the circular economy as a vital model worth investing in. So we started Qinq last year, and the goal for Qinq is to help people make, use products better and for longer.
This is a fantastic initiative here. It's absolutely good. But there is a situation that comes to mind when I think of all these things, is the sachet economy mentality. How is such a circular economy possible, given the economic situation we find ourselves in, not just in Nigeria, but other parts of the world?
I don't need to go say a lot about plastic recycling in Nigeria, because it seems like a booming economy, like a booming sector. We have quite a number of organizations emerging into plastic recycling. However, in circular economy, we believe that recycling is a terrible idea. As a matter of fact, recycling should be the last resort. And why is that the case? Yeah, you're surprised. Why is that the case? The amount of energy expelled, not just in recycling the products, but in the transportation of some of these products. Now look at it. Just imagine the bottled water you get, yeah? Do you know how long it takes to accumulate maybe 100,000 of that, which is worth recycling at a particular instant? The transportation, the logistics, it takes a lot of resources, recycling. And that's why we actually promote more of reusing. And so, so many companies, organizations, not just in Nigeria, have started coming up with reusable water bottles, right? Some have, refillable stands. where you just take a water bottle, you go there, you fill up with water, or you fill up with whatever product you want to get. That's the future. That's where we are turning towards. And in a way, I feel we can't negate the role of legislature in making this happen. In the UK and in other parts of the developed world, as we would call it, there are legislations such as the circular economic package, the climate green, there are lots of the Paris Agreement. There are loads of legislations in place to impulse manufacturers to prioritize the circular economy. But in developing countries, mostly in sub-Saharan Africa and the global south, these issues have not really been prioritized. And not until we have these right legislations in place, we may not be able to make that transition to a reusable or refurbishing, economy. We would stick with recycling, which it definitely increases, CO2 emissions, greenhouse gas emissions, and it's more costly. It's more cost intensive as well. Yeah.
Do you have any challenge preaching your message? Because these guys wants to make their money, and you are saying we have to buy to use for a long time.
Yeah, well, this is it. There's what we call the extended producer responsibility. And basically what extended producer responsibility means is that manufacturers, to a great extent, are responsible for the disposal of the products that they manufacture post-consumption. It's quite difficult in terms of fast-moving consumer goods, as you rightly mentioned, FMCG, because, the packaging is cheap. It's nothing comparable to the cost of, reusing. It's not comparable to, just getting new recyclable product. It's not. And that's a major challenge that we would have. And I have a feeling that the FMCG industry will be the last to make that transition to the circular economy. Influencing consumer behavior can be challenging. However, if the manufacturers of those products also, send the same message, it's put systems in place to make it easier for their customers to make that transition. It does a great deal, and that's the reason why we have to keep emphasizing the need for policies and legislation to make this happen.
Talk to us about the role of the retailer and also the consumer, because we can't drop all the responsibility on the hand of the manufacturer. There's a chain, there's a value chain. Until they get to the end, they can help you achieve your goal. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I do perfectly. And in terms of retailers, I think the first role that they play is education. So we need to have this chain of educational resources down to the consumer. Often we have manufacturers who talk about recycling products and other recyclable products and all of that. But do retailers actually share the same message? Well, when you check the websites, of the manufacturers, I'm sure you see loads of resources about their sustainability strategy, their plan, how they use recyclable products or reusable products. But you as a consumer, you don't buy directly from the manufacturers. Secondly, we need collaboration between, the manufacturers, retailers, and the consumers in terms of what we call reverse logistics. So if we are going to talk about, reusing products, repairing products, let's say IKEA, for example. I'm sure you know IKEA, the Swedish furniture, maker, global company. They started the circular economy program, saying, oh, it doesn't matter when you purchase your IKEA products from us, you can return it to us when we want to get a new one, and we'll pay you for it. Now, reverse logistics is a problem. Do you expect the consumers to send the products to the manufacturer or back to the retailer so those products can be sent back to? So you need collaboration along, the supply chain for reverse logistics, which is a crucial, component, and also quite challenging. And that's, I hope we get to that point where we get to discuss some of the challenges for manufacturers as well. Now, in terms of consumer, the first is consumer behavior, and that's a really difficult challenge. We all know psychologically, behavioral change it's challenging in itself. So what we actually try to admonish more is using more of an incentive-based approach. Now, some researchers would say that's not the best, but really it can help us accomplish. There are quite a number of researchers, publications you read where we say it's a moral approach. We all live on this planet together, so we don't need to incentivize you to do the right thing, but that's not always the case.
What are your hopes at Qinq for 2023?
So our major goal for this year is to get at least 100 feedbacks from our audiences on how beneficial our information has been to them. Hopefully we're able to onboard about 10 new businesses on the platform. And not small scale businesses, but large scale businesses, so we're able to have a ripple effect or a long reaching effect. So we are targeting organizations such as IKEA, Morrison's in the UK. And we've had conversations about bringing this to Africa, but we're not really ripe for that yet. But eventually we will be coming over to Africa, certainly, as we have a global outlook on waste management and the opportunities we could actually create.
Please come soon. We need to have more people like you so we can have a better and safer environment. Thank you so much, David Owumi, CEO, founder, Qinq, for joining us on this conversation. We wish you all the best and hope that at the end of 2023, hopefully when we get you back to have this conversation, you're going to have positive feedback.
Yeah, definitely. I'm quite certain of that. I believe in the team, and I do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And how much you can, through tech, impact your community.
The people who watch my videos, the people who see me and see what I represent, those are the people that I'm online here.
Tech Hub, for a smarter you.